What's up everybody, we're back in the garage today working on the e92. I finished stitch welding it over the week, but there is still a metric ton of work to do. I'll show you all the stitch welds that I did from the inside of the car. I got it off the rotisserie, obviously. It takes about an hour to get it on and off the rotisserie. But today I'm going to try to peel the roof off of this. So the reason I'm peeling the roof off is I have a carbon roof over there sitting on the wall. So carbon fiber roof is cooler than a metal roof, that's for sure. Also it's lighter. But if I peel the roof off now before I put the cage in, I'll be able to access all the tops of the joints without having to drop the cage down. So that's a major benefit. It's going to save a lot of work. So the other thing we're going to do is I have to cut all the brackets out of the interior. I have to stitch weld the engine bay. I have to obviously build the cage. I have to mount a fuel cell. I have to do the tube rear. So there's still a ton of work that needs to go into the chassis before I can even start mounting parts to it. So we're going to keep working on this and try to get it through. But the first step today is taking this roof off. And I left everything on it like this. I left all the brackets, I left the roof on it, I left everything attached. I didn't cut anything out of the chassis itself, so that when it was on the rotisserie, it was less likely to twist. This is a pretty stiff, stout chassis. I don't think it twisted at all. I mean, I stitch welded it now, so even if it did, it's twisted. But I don't think it twisted at all. It seems pretty level. It's on these casters here. I mean, they're all pretty sturdy. And I've filled all the holes and stuff, but I'll go ahead and show you. Let's get to it. All right, guys, let's check out the work I did here. So unfortunately, it's already on the ground, so I really can't, flip it over anymore and show you the actual welds underneath. But I welded it all and I primed it all. And if you look inside the car, you can actually see the other sides of all the welds. So, I mean, you can really see, well, okay, you can't really see anything there. But you can see how I've welded up some holes. These are the brackets. These are the brackets I took out of from underneath the car that I'm not going to use anymore. I'm going to cut all the brackets out, like this bracket, or these brackets, or those brackets, just to reduce the weight. I mean, it makes it look a little nicer too. But as we look around the car, you can see all the seams have been welded together instead of just spot welded together. Nice penetrating welds too. So you can see a couple more holes I filled from the underside. I just kind of tacked those in, and then I'll seam seal these holes from the top. And I got to fill all the holes in the firewall and stuff still. I haven't stitch welded the engine bay yet, but it is on the list, especially because this big seam right here. This definitely needs to be welded to make the car stronger. But I did do the strut towers from the back side, and you can kind of see them, coming down the side and back there. I'll probably do this side too. It's really not necessary to do both sides of the seam. I don't think HGK or anybody does both sides of the seam, but some of the seams that you can get to from this side, you can't get to from the bottom. So I'll either identify those seams and just get to those seams, or stitch weld them all. Let's get to what we're doing today. So today, I'm taking this roof off to swap it with that roof, eventually. This roof's gonna stay off for quite a while, but first step in preparing the car for the cage, other than seam welding, so I guess the second step is to get this roof off. And if you look, it is on here. So we gotta drill out every single spot weld all the way around. We gotta take out these 4 bolts. I don't know why there's 4 bolts, 100 spot welds. In addition to that, there's this glue underneath it. Between these two, there's glue that's not seam sealer. So it's the same glue like the sides of the bodies are kept on with. So it's a little tougher. We're gonna have to heat it up. You can see I ground down all the sticky stuff from the windshield so I can see the spot welds on this side. But it seems like it's just horrible process after horrible process here, and hopefully the end result is totally worth it, because this is a lot of work, guys. But if you want a pro level car, I guess this is what you got to go through. So I'm gonna get to it. going to be a pretty destructive process getting this roof off. I mean, I'm pretty much going to have to like heat it up with a torch and chisel it off. Hey guys, time for a little progress report. So I've drilled out all of the rivets, and for some reason there were about 3 times as many rivets where the windshields were than on the sides, and none of them were easy. The bit kept walking around, it kept just falling out of the groove. I mean, it really took a long time to do this. You can see how messed up these look. I don't know how people do this and intend to, you know, keep the paint nice. Now we're gonna try to chisel this thing off. Just kind of breaking all the seam sealer here, and it seems to be coming off. Oh, there's definitely something holding it here in the middle. Yeah, there's a little glue there. You heat it up, it pops right off. So I guess that's how we'll do them all. Gotta find out where all the glue is. Looks like we got lucky with the back, because the front is being a pain. I'm trying to heat all this stuff up, but I can't really get to it from the heat here. A lot of glue. Maybe a little too aggressive. Looks like actually I can break the glue here. That's what just happened. This glue here broke. And these aren't really spot welded to the roof. It's actually part of the roof. So if I break all these green glues, maybe I can take the whole thing off, which would be great. Because I don't need that then. So I guess if you wanted to destroy it less, you could get these green glues off from the inside. Wow, that's pretty heavy. Alright, so I got a question for you guys. How structural is this piece? Because this came with the new carbon fiber roof, and it's non-existent on this sunroof model car. And it would go right here underneath the carbon fiber roof. But actually the skeleton of the sunroof, the metal roof, wasn't attached to the frame itself. It just sat on top. So really it didn't add any rigidity. It was only glued in these 2 spots here, or these 4 spots here. wasn't glued back here or anything. That's why I was surprised when it lifted out so easily. I thought I would have had to drill out a bunch more spot welds. So I'm wondering if I can leave this out. Even though it's not that heavy, it couldn't be that structural. But at the same time, you know, why did the BMW engineers put it in here if it wasn't needed? So, what do you guys think? I don't know. I'll probably end up putting it in, honestly, but I'd like to not put it in. Plus, it would look cool from the inside because it would be all carbon. There wouldn't be anything breaking it up. Just gonna sit on here like that. And actually, this is an OEM roof. It came right out of the junkyard, and I cut it off the roof that it was on. So it's not in pristine condition, but it's carbon fiber, and the price was good. So got it right out of a local junkyard here. So that was really nice. So I really can't wait to put this on. So you guys can probably guess why I didn't want to take the roof off before I stitch welded the bottom. And even though this and that portion probably gives it all the rigidity it needs, I mean, I just thought it was better to have the roof on it than not on it. So here's the car with no roof. You can kind of see how easy it is to weld the top of a cage without a roof on the car. So it's gonna be staying off for a little while I build the cage. Next things we have to do is take out all the brackets on the interior, get everything ready for the cage to go in, then we can actually start building a cage. We're also going to come back here, we're going to tube all this, probably cut the back off depending on when rear quarter panels are available. There are a couple on the market now, but I'm waiting for a specific company. And we're going to get going. So there she is, stitch welded with no roof. How about that? Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoy content like this, please consider subscribing. I'm going to continue to work on this car. We're going to do some E36 stuff here pretty soon. We got to do a new intercooler pipe for the E36 before Import Alliance here in Atlanta. And but if you like this stuff, please give this video a like, leave a comment. Let me know about the roof truss, I guess? The roof thing that I was talking about earlier. But thanks a lot.